So we'll go through a series of drawings now, or poses. Maud, if you want to do that, we'll do some 3-minute poses. Okay. So with these, I'll just kind of start up here in the corner. The main thing is here, if you're looking down in your basket, if she's looking down the basket, her eyes are going to be focused down here, and I'm going to be going right to the basket. So I'm going to be, and the basket is opened, so my eyes are up here, and I throw, and I catch down here. And so I'm looking at this, and then I'm going to come up, and I'm going to see that her back comes over here, right? And her feet are under here. So this is really the gist of the pose, is like this. Just holding on, and her knee is coming across here. So I was trying to capture the gist of this pose before any kind of anatomy, okay? And her other arm coming down in here. Right? So this is really what I'm looking for first. And once I have this attitude, then I can go in and I can go and put the other things in here. Like I can use her hair to frame, maybe her hair coming down here as a framing element. And I can push and pull some of these shapes, and I can pull this over the top of her shoulder here, her strap from her top across here, and wrap that around. There we go. And it's really the her costume or her dress is really going to be secondary to what her action is. Okay? I can always correct anything in here, but my first impression is just to get that pose. All right. Okay, good. There we go. Now, with something like this, where she's standing up tall, where she's throwing it out, I might start with her head up here, and I'm going to see underneath here a long neck coming here, because this is the angle that I'm at, and then tossing forward like this. See that her weight is on her leg that's underneath her here. But she's really reaching up the back this way. Okay? And I'm going to exaggerate a couple of these things too. Maybe I'm going to push this out just a little bit over here, okay? Just to get a little bit more movement in here. There we go. I'm going to start with because I'm going to see that from her eyes, like this, I want to look right over here at this point of the umbrella. So it's really, this is the connection that I'm looking for. It's here to here. So I'm going to look at what's going to bring my eye back up in here. And her shoulders are pulled up. This hand here. And again, I'm not looking for complete accuracy or anatomical accuracy. I just want the gesture of this pose. And once you get the gesture in there, then you can fit in all the parts. But you want to get that gesture in there first. There we go. Slide this a little bit this way. Okay. So if she's looking out one way, and her shoulders are pinched up, they're pulled up. Maybe it's a little bit colder now. And so sometimes what I'll do is I'll draw through too, so that I can see how her dress works over the top, so that again you can lead with the with her figure. I'm even pinching her shoulders in. I'm exaggerating them, being a little bit pinched in even more. I even push it more. I can try to push this even more by tucking her elbows in, like this. Thank you. See, if I do this, look at the difference now between this drawing and this drawing, where what I've done is I've tucked her shoulders over just a little bit more. And I'll go ahead and push this up. And give this a long line in here. Tuck this shoulder in just a little bit more. There's a little more feeling of kind of huddling in under the umbrella. So I'll bring this in, but I'll put this one back here just a little bit more. You see? So I drew this, but the feeling is a little bit more like this, where she's kind of tucked in. So I'm just pushing that, okay? Because at the end of the day, even if this was anatomically correct, this is a much more interesting drawing, okay? This is more of her attitude, okay? And if we start with this and then back into any anatomy or any type of draftsmanship or whatever you want to do, or even if we wanted to get into any detailing on our costuming or any of the other elements, we could do that easily. But we've started with that gesture first, or the real feeling of that pose first. This is more of my initial sketch, but then I put in more attitude in the second one. And that was really it. I wanted to get what I started, as I'm drawing this, I feel it was a little bit stiff and straightened up. And I thought, well, what's the real feeling in this? And I started thinking, okay, well, what if the rain is coming down a little harder, or if it's starting to be windy, or that kind of a thing, and she doesn't have a sweater, then maybe she's going to be, her shoulders are going to be tucked in a little tighter, head's going to be down, she's going to pull in her chin a little bit, and so I'm kind of looking for those kinds of things that will just really show more of that expression, you know, and really get that feeling across in the drawing. With something like this, I'm going to see she's leaning forward a little bit too. So she's leaning forward and her hand is on the top of this, but it's coming up to the side there. I'll make her lean forward just a little bit more. Okay. Okay, now you can see where her eyes are. I'm going to start with her head and her eyes, and she's looking down at the suitcase down here. Okay, so her eyes are going down to the suitcase, top of the surface there. So that's where I want to make sure that I get that. Even though she's high up, she's looking down. Okay, and there's her neck, and her shoulder is going to be pulled up and into her jaw up that way, right? And that's that stretch along the side where she's pulling up. And okay, so in that pose, really what I want to see is I want to see you push up, and it really comes up to that shoulder, and there's a long stretch along her back to the outside here. You see that? So it's really that her eye line coming in here is one thing. We'll get a little bit more sense of her eyes in there, and that's one thing. But then you get this long stretch because she's pulling up here. It's pulling her shoulder up, and her rib cage is kind of pushed back up over here. Okay, so it just lengthens that stretch. So it's passive in here, it's active here, and then when we look at the overall out here, you can see it's a little broken up and active here, and then I can simplify this over here because this is active here, active, passive. Here is passive, active. I flip it from side to side. Out here, the whole arm is active, and over this side is passive. Okay. Then if I go straight here, I'm still remaining passive down here and on here, and maybe I'll get a little bit more curve on the outside of her leg to make that a little bit more active. So from back and forth, I'm flipping it from side to side, just so things don't look even on both sides like that. Okay? So think about these little forces that are happening in your drawings and stuff as you go. Okay? All right? Same thing here. I'm going to start with her face and her expression out here. And book she's reading. So the difference in this one is, first you want to look for that eye line, that focus and intent on the book. And then with her pose too, it's interesting where you get both her elbows tucked in, okay? Both elbows tucked in, her intense look at the book. You have elbows tucked in, and then her knees are tucked together. You know, so it creates this kind of a wedge there and a wedge there, and it's creates an interesting intersection here that can help move your eye up and around. Okay, that's good. Again, I'm going to start with here. Start with the attitude here, and even if I move this up so she's really looking down, if I move her head this way, then I'm going to make sure that her neck goes back quite a bit, pushing her face and her jaw forward. So I'm pushing this back just a little bit more. And then reaching for her shoe or place on her shoe. Okay, in this next pose, I want you guys to, let's try to look for straights against curves. Look for one side against the other, and there's going to be like a tension and a pulling from one side to the other. And we'll try to look at that. Okay. Okay. All right. So our basic intention is going to be up here. And then there's a broad sweep down here. Right. So again, if I'm looking for like straights against curves, I'm going to look for the pushing out here and then up. And if our high line is down here looking at the book this way, okay, I want to get this eye line really strong. And then I'm going to push this up, push this back, and then try to get this movement across here because she's really leaning onto this chair. Okay. So I want to, if she's here, if she's leaning against the chair's up here, the ground's down here. She's pretty much, this is her hip solid on the ground here. She's pretty much suspended, right? She's stretched up here. Intent on this. So this is really where we're going. Okay? Okay. That's good. Again, one of the things that you can look at is if she's looking down like this, and her shoulders are up. we can push this up. Push your elbows and arms, or push your arms up. So the main thing I'm looking at is pushing up this way. Thank you. Her head tilting down this way. Her shoulder pushing up this way. Her rib cage pushing up this way. Okay? And then I also notice her weight is on her back leg, so it's going to be right under her, mostly under her here.